I'm just going to start by saying I will not be the least bit offended if tired graduates are napping during this. I was reading my remarks in the car on our way here from the East Bay, and I finished them, and I'm waiting to hear something wonderful from the back seat from my brother, like, oh my gosh, you're going to be amazing. And I'm waiting, and then John finally says, oh, sorry, I was taking a little nap. So with that preface, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the warm introduction, Provost Glazier. I am touched and honored to have been asked to speak at this celebratory occasion. It is also very nostalgic to be on this stage 45 years after receiving my MFCC from this same department in 1980. If you're doing the math, you know that was a while ago. I want to begin by taking a moment, as did Dean Zirkle, to just acknowledge everyone who is here today, not as a graduate, but as a part of the cheering section, champions and supporters. Each of you has played a role in the lives of these students, whether as the bank of mom and dad, important role, the shoulder to cry on during discouraging times, the voice of ever-positive fortitude, or the teller of silly jokes to add humor to the drudgery of finals week. Enormous thanks, muchas gracias, merci to everyone for the love and care that you have given to these graduates. Being touched and honored does not rule out all the other feelings that came with the invitation to speak, starting with the entire gamut of imposter syndrome. My first intuitive response was telling Bill, my husband and most enthusiastic supporter, that we needed to go to Tijuana in the middle of June. His startled response was, why? To which I replied, I want to tell Dean Zirkle that I can't accept her request because we're going to be out of the country. And that is the closest border. Fortunately, cooler heads prevailed. I took several self-centering breaths, calmed down, and began gathering relevant information. My approach to organizing my thoughts for today utilized every bit of my type A style. I watched the graduation speeches at 10 universities. Not a great idea, it just made me more and more nervous. I listened to a daunting array ranging from Jacinda Ardern, the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, Maria Ressa, winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, Tom Hanks and Henry Winkler, maybe you're too young to remember the Fonz, for a touch of levity, and lastly, Kermit the Frog, who entertained the graduates at University of Maryland. Wisdom from a Frog felt the most approachable and least intimidating. Moving on, I culled my collection of quotes for inspiration, wrote effusive notes, rewriting them in my head at night rather than counting sheep. In the end, I reverted to freshman English and the basic outline: an introduction, 3 points, and a conclusion. My legacy at Santa Clara University literally began in my childhood. My family lived 3 blocks from here, at the corner of Fremont and Washington Streets. Our dad graduated from Santa Clara in 1936, and as Dean Zirkle mentioned, he remained a lifelong Bronco. At 90, he was still calling incoming freshmen to welcome them to his alma mater. He may actually have called one of you graduates. Fast forward to this afternoon, 89 years after Dad graduated. Our world is a much more complicated place than it was when his class of civil engineers, 6 strong, matriculated, or when I walked across this stage to receive my diploma. Values are called into question every day. Disheartening political decisions are being made around the world. Inequality is in evidence at every turn. It all feels overwhelming if we let it be. Rather than being dismayed and unnerved by global problems, each of you here today has the opportunity to make choices about how to negotiate the everyday challenges that are an inevitable part of a meaningful life. Atul Gawande, in his book, Being Mortal, proposes that better is possible. It takes a willingness to try. Having been part of the Jesuit community at Santa Clara, you have been grounded by a moral compass. The words that are so much a part of the fabric here, conscience, competence, compassion, are powerful stepping stones as you make decisions going forward. You will never regret speaking up for injustice or going out of your way to help the less fortunate. Every one of you is the protagonist in your life story, navigating your path and learning from the outcome. You have been given the foundation to go from this campus with self-confidence and to build lives of meaning. Dean Zirkle asked that I share a bit about my career and the project that has been so fulfilling and given my life meaning. For several years, I worked as a psychologist on the oncology unit at a major children's hospital here in the Bay Area. I cannot say enough positive things about the experience I gained there, nor about the dedication of the staff. Teams of extraordinary people committed themselves every day to helping sick and injured children get well. In fact, my son-in-law is in the audience, and he's an ER doctor at the same hospital. When I was actually still there, I would love to go and have them say over the loudspeaker, "Dr. Baker, your mother-in-law is here." Being part of that effort was inspirational. I also learned that for the children with life-limiting conditions who weren't going to get well, a hospital setting by its very nature is far from a tranquil place to spend the last days of a young life. A colleague and I collaborated, envisioning the possibility of creating a better model of care for children and young adults with complex medical conditions, all of whom we believed would benefit from a more peaceful and positive setting. After years of research, county zoning challenges, fundraising, and arduous planning, George Mark Children's House opened its doors in 2004. The house, named after my two brothers who sadly died when they were young, is located on 5 acres of beautifully landscaped gardens. It is a tranquil and nurturing place where families with sick or dying children can be together and spend quality time with the love and support of extraordinary volunteers and caretaking staff. Alternatively, they can leave their child or young adult in our extremely capable hands and take a break from their demanding and relentless responsibilities. George Mark is indeed a place where children are sick and sometimes die, but it is also a haven of joy, love, engagement, and support, where miniature ponies, puppies, rabbits, and even camels come to visit, where performers dressed as Disney characters sing along with the children, where art and aquatic therapy enrich the lives of young patients. It is where Giants players visit and hand out orange and black team gear, where Olivia Newton-John and Kenny G have serenaded. It is a spot where we celebrate proms, Pumpkin Day, and picnic gatherings. An annual Remembrance Day allows our families to gather and honor their sweet children who have died. 20 years since its inception, George Mark has helped hundreds of families through the heartbreaking journey of illness and death in a way that has allowed them comfort, dignity, unlimited bereavement support, and connection to other families who have shared a similar experience. They are supported in being able to re-engage with life. All of our services are provided at no charge to the families who stay with us. For our family, this project has been both healing and heartwarming. Our parents were proud to know that the legacy of their sons, one who died as a teenager, the other as a young dad of 4, would live on in a way that would touch lives for generations to come. Every day their names are said aloud, and life-changing care is given in their honor. I always cry, sorry. I have my mother's handkerchief. It has been a privilege for me to work in this special setting. I'd like to share with you 3 words that were inspirational to me in my career and the actualization of George Mark Children's House. Perhaps they will also help you in your post-grad quest. The words are possibility, curiosity, and hope. Possibility acknowledges the unknown, suggesting that the future can be exciting and scary. The word says that it is okay not to have everything figured out. It's not a guarantee. It is an invitation to be creative, think outside the box, and take bold steps. I have always seen curiosity as a character trait to be encouraged at a very young age. Alan Garber, the current president of Harvard, who received a well-deserved and rousing standing ovation for just opening his mouth and saying welcome, suggested to his graduates that they learn to consider curiosity a state in which to live, with arms outstretched and minds open. Curiosity lends itself to the ever-present possibility of learning and to the personal growth that is gained from making challenging decisions, right or wrong. Being fortified by openness leaves room for humility, empathy, generosity, insight. Albert Einstein, who was such a quirky genius, said of himself in a masterpiece of self-effacement, "I have no special talent, I am only passionately curious." It served him well. The third word that I think is an imperative is hope. Emily Dickinson, poet extraordinaire, wrote the following: "Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words that never stops at all." Hope encouraged us all through the pandemic. In addition to the universal hope for the discovery of a vaccine and for the resources needed to care for people suffering around the globe, personally, I held on to my selfish hope that post-pandemic I would never have to Zoom again. Hope highlights our resilience and our ability to shape a better world. Our new Pope, Leo, in one of his lovely homilies, spoke of hope when he envisioned a kinder world, asking that every person act with decency, humility, and generosity. Such gentle marching orders from the man who is the religious leader of 1.6 billion people worldwide. Aren't we grateful for that? Desmond Tutu, who had ample cause to be depressed and pessimistic, instead leaned into hope, which he described as being able to see that there is light despite the darkness. What a gift each of you, trained to be educators and care providers, can be the light that offers hope to many who need you during troubling times. In closing, a quick summation of Kathy Hull's Guide to Living Life with Full Potential suggests that first, possibility is what gives direction. Curiosity keeps us moving forward. Lastly, hope fuels the journey and makes the trip worthwhile. Congratulations, 2025 graduates, for completing these advanced degrees, which will surely encourage curiosity, lots of possibilities, and boundless hope. With the word hope on my tongue, it feels apt to exit stage right, except I'm going left, with a final word from the humorist and much-loved national icon of an earlier era, Bob Hope, who said, "You know what? Laughter is the greatest thing in the world. It makes people shine. A little love, a little laugh, and you're ahead of the rest of the world." That's my motto. A great one, yes? I wish each of you a future that holds love, laughter, and gratitude. Thank you.